Hello Dave, how you doing? Thought you might be here. Right. Okay, now first of all we're very, very, very proud to be a part of this illustrious group behind us, all of whom are veterans of what they do, and we're knocked out to be amongst them. The last time we were here was when we won Beat the Clock, which is probably about 25 years ago. And I know you expected white suits and medallions and big hair and all that stuff. Well, sorry to disappoint you. But the first person we should introduce to you all is the director and choreographer, Miss Arlene Phillips.
Hello, I'm delighted to be here. I'm very excited to be doing directing and choreographing Saturday Night Fever. I also want to talk about the incredible team that we have, creative team, which is Robin Wagner as the set designer, Andy Bridge as the lighting designer, Andy Edwards who is doing the costumes, and Phil Edwards who is doing musical supervisor and orchestrations, Mick Cotter who is doing the sound, and the adapters of the film are Nan Knighton with myself, Paul Nicholas and Robert Stigwood, and I'm thrilled to be doing the show. And now I'd like to hand you back to BeeGees.
Thank you. Okay, we'd now like to present the cast to you, and the first is Alexia Leontiu as Annette. She will play Annette.
And the next lovely lady is Annette Louise Kuhn as Stephanie.
Mr. Simon Grief, who will play Bobby C.
Adam Garcia as Tony Manero.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're going to start the Q&A when you're ready.
Okay. It's nice, isn't it?
Hang on. Did you think the stay would ever come? Was that the question? Well, actually, it was Robert's creative thought, I guess, to turn the movie into a stage show. And that obviously is a hard task because it never was a stage show, unlike Grease and shows like that. Saturday Night Fever was in fact a movie before it was anything else. So it had to transfer to stage. And you're dealing with the master, and so we had no problems.
What do you think of this revival of interest in all things 70s?
We find it very unusual that the culture that we're in today seems to be looking back to the 70s and sort of saying, well, wasn't it fun, wasn't it great? After going through a period of saying, well, let's forget about the 70s. And for us it's uncanny, we can't quite figure it out, but we're enjoying it too. So. Absolutely, yeah. And a couple of new ones, which is good.
Question for Andy Garcia. Sorry, Adam, yes. Adam.
We were on late last night.
You have the responsibility of taking on a very famous role created by a very famous star, John Travolta.
Yeah.
How do you feel like stepping into his shoes in such a role?
Well, it's a bit daunting. Admittedly, he did create one of probably the most memorable film performances in history. So that's good. But no, I'm really looking forward to it. It is a great role, and the story itself is magnificent. So hopefully I just won't mimic him. I'll try and create it. It's going to be a big challenge, and I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Bit nervous?
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, who doesn't remember that role? Who doesn't remember that film?
But shoes are a size bigger.
They are a size bigger as well, and they're slightly narrower. So,
Very big place to meet.
yeah.
Thank you. Barry, have you written any new songs for them?
The three of us have written a song called Immortality for the show, and another piece of music called The First and the Last, which is really the first and the last stroke tragedy, which wasn't. In fact, there are a few of our songs that weren't in the film that are going to be in the show, thanks to Robert and his people. They've seen fit to place some of those other songs like Words and To Love Somebody and
incidentally, Immortality just been recorded by Celine Dion on her next album, which comes out in a few weeks' time.
Question for Adam Garcia and the accent and the other lady in the past. How are you going to do Brooklyn accents?
Work very hard.
Oh, they're all done. No. No, it's Brooklyn. It's not that hard an accent, I don't think. A bit of training will be required, but it'll be convincing, hopefully. I mean, you won't go, "He's Australian, it's ridiculous." But no, so I've been training to get my accent up. I think we all will be,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Will you answer all future questions with a Brooklyn
Just give me a bit of,
let's do the Cockney version.
We could. Oh no, that's worse. Maybe Scouts.
Just a suggestion.
Are you going to bring the musical into the 90s in any way, or will it be the same white flares and very 70s flares involved?
I think that's for Arlene.
That's for Arlene.
Well, if you look at anyone who's hip today, they look like they're wearing 70s clothes but styled for the 90s. Look at any Gucci ad and it's like, wow, that looks 70s, but cool, it's really cool. So that's what we'll be doing all the way around. It will be 70s, but it will just have that flavour of the 90s.
Question for Barry. You said, just continue what you said earlier over here.
Oh, there you are. Yes, sorry.
You said earlier that there's a vogue at the moment for sort of a retro look at the 70s.
Yeah.
The fact is that most of that vogue is a somewhat ironic, slightly mocking, self-piss-taking look at the 70s.
I don't agree.
Is there room for a straight version, absolutely straight, Saturday Night Fever on stage in 1997?
I didn't understand the end of that.
What I
Sorry.
mean is there room for people to go on totally straight to all the worlds and throwing jackets in the air and flares and all
Oh
that?
come on, let's face it. Saturday Night Fever was high camp. It was silly in one respect, and it was great fun in another respect. But I think that if you look back at the 70s and you look at the way everybody was, and we go through different decades. Look at this decade. Everybody's wearing great big baggy shorts, and what are we going to think of those big baggy shorts in 20 years from now? You know, we all tend to look back. That's the nature of the culture. We tend to look back and mock what was extremely successful. You know,
If you look back at all the artists of the 70s, I mean, everybody was wearing those clothes, from Elton John, Genesis, Queen. So, I mean, it was part of the outfit of the 70s, it wasn't just Saturday Night Fever. So you have to address the whole culture of artists that are still having success today.
Also, I've got an 18-year-old daughter, and she wears the kind of clothes that I want to see right now on stage at the Palladium. And if you look through Time Out, there are so many 70s clubs and ads for 70s clubs where the hip people are going. So hopefully it's not to be laughed at, but it's like the coolest thing that's going to happen.
Do any of you still have your 70s clothes?
My daughter's wearing mine.
Yes. We've all got the Sgt. Pepper clothes, but we're still trying to find out who to blame, and we think it might be Paul Nicholas, but we're not sure. I know. But,
I'm worried that your career is sort of linked to the past almost. That was the most popular period for you.
I have to say that even Paul McCartney's career is linked to the past. If you've done something wonderful in your career, it'll always be linked to that. and anybody that's had tremendous success, including Paul McCartney and Elton John and all of these people, will always be linked to some great event in their past, in their career, and that is why they are successful today, or why they're famous today.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would have given a lot up just to have a fever in their career, and we were very fortunate to have that. So we were blessed with that, and it was something that doesn't happen every day. You can't predict a phenomenon like that, and we were very blessed to have that. So as Paul will always be a Beatle, I guess we'll always
Remember,
be
the Beatles wore mop tops and monkey suits, you know.
Yeah, so it's great to be associated with something as successful as that.
This is going to be amazing, by the way.
Barry, what's your favorite article from that era, from the 70s? Your favorite article? That
My
you
favorite
ever-
article?
Yeah, that you ever wore on stage or...
Well, I still have two medallions. One was given to us by Robert, and the other one was given to us by Armored Ertigan of Atlantic Records. And I treasure those, and naturally I don't wear them. They're not very big. In fact, they might have even sparked the idea of people wearing medallions, but they are in fact very tiny. So they're not ostentatious at all. In fact, one is Turkish. So yes, those things from that period, yes.
What about your favorite outfit? Did you have a favorite outfit?
I only have outfits from Sgt. Pepper. I don't have. It's true, Paul. As I sit here today, I can't get them on. So that should tell you something.
Can I just say, I think we're very lucky to have the Bee Gees music. I mean, they've been writing the most fabulous songs for a number of years, continue to write fabulous songs, and indeed a lot of the songs in Saturday Night Fever have been re-recorded, haven't they? Yeah. Updated.
Thank you, Paul.
So I'm very thrilled that we have the Bee Gees music, and it endures so much, and I think that has to be said because they're fantastic writers, and you know, probably the number ones in this century. So,
Oh, you're very kind.
Thank you.
I think Paul McCartney
you paid me earlier for that.
How long did the search go on, Robert, to find the people you thought would be absolutely right for the stage production? Because they are very identified with the movie, with the characters, aren't they?
David, I think probably 18 months to get our perfect leads. And I'm so thrilled with them, and I think they're going to astound everyone. And unless I had these wonderful people in position, I wouldn't dream of going forward.
Question for the BeeGees. First of all, thank you very much for all the beautiful music.
Oh, thank you.
And secondly, remember when you kind of just decided to produce Barbra Streisand and 2 weeks later it just kind of happened? If you could work with anybody right now, which you can, who would be your choice?
Well, I think Barbara will. I think the next album along. Barbara's got a new album coming out, but the one following that she's asked us to do, and we'll probably do that one. There's an awful lot of artists around today, like Brandy or Celine Dion, people like that. We love female singers. It's one of our favourite things. And there's probably a reason for that.
Tell us that story one more time. When you were working with Irene and the birth of the falsetto.
That's right. Well, the falsetto came about. We didn't know, we didn't know about falsetto. We'd never tried it before. And it was a song called Nights on Broadway, which is in this show. And Arif was looking for one of us to scream in tune, as it were, on the end of Nights on Broadway as some kind of excitement factor in the record. And I volunteered to go out and try it, and discovered that I could scream in tune. I had screamed previously, but not in tune.
We just kick in the right place.
Yes, many times. And so that's how it came about. And from then on, we thought, well, this sort of works. Why don't we try actually singing a whole song with the falsetto voice? And that led to the whole Fever thing, and it led to with the album following that, Spirits Having Flown. So we've been experimenting with that ever since.
It's fantastic how you actually the ones who came up with the title of the film.
We came up with Night Fever, and Robert said, no, that's too dirty, we can't use it. And I said, well, Robert, and he said, well, maybe if we stick Saturday in front of it. So
we beat him up.
And there's one thing that really puzzles me. You know how the Beach Boys are very famous for surfing. that they never serve.
But we do.
I've
Yeah, no,
never
hang on.
seen you people dance.
No, what,
And
no.
I cannot believe that you cannot dance because
We can't surf, we can't dance, but we cruise. We're actually very good at that.
Actually, funny enough, since I stopped drinking, I don't know how to dance at all.
You don't want to tell him that you only drank, he couldn't dance.
Oh, I thought I could.
Just didn't know about it, right?
Yeah, I just wasn't there.
I have one more question, so I'm really holding you. Underneath all the Australian accents and American superstardom, there's three Manculian boys, which is...
Ah, yes, indeed.
Yeah, do you still feel...
Well, we're Manx.
What's your root?
Yeah, we're born in the Isle of Man. So that's something that has sort of eluded everybody for a while, and it wasn't part of our TV special, and we'd like to apologise to the Isle of Man for that. I'm dead serious.
I've just got a telegram here.
The president of the Isle of Man. So yes, that's where we come from originally. So we're Manx, in fact, and then we moved to Manchester when I was about 5 and Maurice and Rob were about 3.
And how do you, because your accent's really confusing, do you feel mostly Mancunian
Well, more cosmopolitan, aren't we?
Yeah,
we were brought up in Australia.
multicultural.
You know, brought up in Australia, first Manchester, then Australia, and then back to England in '67.
Transatlantic.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Can I ask, has John Travolta been notified of the show, and what do you feel like it will become interview?
Well, we were with John a few weeks back, and he said to us, "Get out of the way." And then he realised it was us, and everything was fine.
Once he put his glasses on.
Yes, but we were actually at a John Travolta roast, which was wonderful fun, and.
You roasted John Travolta?
Well, it was
Still fun. We roasted Robert, in fact. We didn't roast John Travolta.
Actually, John was being inducted into the Friars Club in New York, and it's a big ceremony, and you go there, and we sang How Deep Is Your Love to him and his wife Kelly, and they were inducted into the Friars Club, so it was a great honour to do that.
But to answer your question, I don't think he's aware that this is going on. We didn't talk about it at that time, so we actually don't know.
There's an invitation in your post.
Oh, good. This is a number of facts.
Question for you, Robert Stiglitz. The interest in 70s revival has actually been around for many years now. Why do the stage version now?
Like wonderful wine, grows better with age.
And nobody knows better than...
I always maintain that why not? Anytime something worked. I think this is the right time.
So this is the right time, yeah. I think that Robert has timed it perfectly, and this is about the peak period that Saturday Night Fever is enjoying, and the 70s are enjoying, a sort of a popularity. So I think this year, into next year, I think the 70s are really going to be still part of everybody's hearts and minds. I think it's a perfect time.
Have you thought of writing a musical from scratch?
Yes. Actually, trying to cause trouble, right?
Actually, we've been bitten by the bug, yeah. It's another avenue that we've never actually ventured into, but I think one day we would love to sit down and do that. Because we've done so many different things, from production to writing for other artists, as well as production, and ourselves, and different movie things. But this is something that has been totally alien to us. And to do this, considering that the film was a film, it's a play with music, not like a musical like Grease and so forth. It's quite an adventure to have this happen, and so writing the new songs, the 2 new songs that we wrote for this, was a great test for that. And we realised, this could be a lot of fun. Maybe we should, think about that. So it is in the back of our minds right now that once we get some time, we're going to sit down and do that. Yeah.
Is that what you use for the cover?
Yes, one's called Immortality, and the other one is called
First and Last.
Adam, how old are you?
24.
So did you remember much about the film coming out in the 70s?
Well, I wasn't old enough.
He was 4 at the time.
Yeah.
I wasn't old enough to actually go to the cinema then. But I did. I was dancing from a very young age, and my mum and dad thought it'd be very interesting to bring it home when I was about 15. I watched it on video, and it was fantastic.
Was he a bit of a hero to you, John Travolta, and his dance steps and things?
It was. We watched the video for the dancing, and that's the thing. A lot of people just remember the dancing from it. Also, there's a pretty good story, but yeah, it was pretty memorable for me.
Would it be useful if you did have a chat with John or meet John? Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't know what to say. I'm like,
Get out of the way.
Get out of the way now.
There's a big difference with film and stage. When I made the film with John, we always had the luxury of being able to edit. Adam has a much tougher task. There is no editing. He's got to do that and more, and live every night.
Like on the edge.
And sing.
And sing.
And sing.
And act.
Well, got to do my own hair. Oh.
Can you sing a few bars of either Immortality or any other songs so we can have an idea of the mood or feel?
No, not really, absolutely not. Wait for them, please.
How about one of the old ones then?
The BeeGees are not performing. So.
Is it true that Celine's going to sing at Vegas next month?
Yes, we're doing a show in Vegas on November the 14th at the MGM Grand, and we've asked Celine, we went to New York for the recording session and filmed a video with her, and heard the first time her singing it. It was an incredible night. And we asked her then if she would come on the show, and immediately said yes, no problem. And we've already been in touch with her husband, who's also a manager, and he's prepared already. He said, yeah, we're going to be there, it's going to be fantastic, we're going to have a great time.
Really nice people.
Lovely people.
And are there going to be other guests there as well? Because I hope your son's going to play there too.
Well, no, my son is in the immediate band that is going to do that show. Yes.
Yeah.
He's 23 years old and plays very nice guitar, and he'll be in the band.
Now that you're a bit older, do you still enjoy disco? What do you think?
Are you dressing Robert or me? Go for it.
Well, we always viewed sort of disco as progressive R&B at the time. So to us, it's just music. And when we were making the music to Saturday Night Fever, we didn't really think in terms of the word disco. It was just at the time sort of blue-eyed soul, and that's what everybody was doing at the time, including Hall & Oates. And we were always influenced by black music, black-orientated music and black grooves, and it's in our music long before Fever. And indeed, some of the songs, You Should Be Dancing and Jive Talking, were already #1 2 or 3 years before Saturday Night Fever. And so, in a sense, the disco is just really a word, and short for nightclub, which is where everybody was dancing at the time Fever was popular. So, in a sense, we just see it as music, and music is always evolving, always be people dancing.
What do you think of modern dance music?
What do you mean, hip hop and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Well, it's fun. It's the same basic situation as it was 20 years ago. This kind of thing will go on and on and on, no matter what. There'll always be clubs. There'll always be people wanting to dance, and the dance will vary, and it will go retro, and it will keep going backwards and forwards, and that seems to be the nature of the culture.
Yeah, and on the other hand, we're having hits today with music that is not disco orientated. Music is R&B influenced still, but we're evolving as well.
Has the music been rearranged?
I don't know. I can't. We're not involved in the actual making of the show, so that's not for us to answer. Who would answer that?
Yes, there are new arrangements for the music, but many of the incredible arrangements that are already there will be used because they're just fantastic and they just live today as they did then.
How faithful will the choreography be to the scenes that we saw on the tops here time and time again? How would we replicate those?
I think there will be elements of the choreography as was then in the show, but again that was a lot of untrained dancers. There were a lot of real people in that, and although we have some real people, we have a mix obviously of dancers too. So again, it will be 70s influence, 90s choreography.
Will the army?
I'm sure it'll be there somewhere. My 18-year-old girl does a great sort of hip-hop version of Saturday Night Fever, which I'm forever watching her dancing in her bedroom. I'm going, wow, that's really cool. So, yeah, it'll be there.
And then how with the category?
The cast is 36.
Sorry, as we have a lot of very restless photographers downstairs, can we have just maybe one more question before we break up for the call?
Barry, you know you'd send us all home very happy if you could just do a couple of bars of High Signature Love. You know that's what we all want.
I know your eyes in the morning sun. I feel you touch me in the pouring rain. And the moment that you wander far from me, I wanna feel you in my arms again. And you come to me on a summer breeze, keep me warm in your love, then you softly leave. And it's me you need to show. How deep is your love? Is your love? How deep is your love? I really mean to learn, 'cause we're living in a world of fools, breaking us down, when they all should let us be. We belong to you and me.